There's something major going down on Tracy Island. It's VGC, the video game podcast, with me, Jordan Midler, Chris Scullion, and Andy Robinson. This week, Nintendo makes an alarming announcement, but first, how's it going, folks? Hello, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm concerned that I usually don't get your lyrics, but I get that one.
Yeah.
So that's busted, isn't it?
A classic Busted's Thunderbirds Are Go from the motion picture Thunderbirds. They announced
was it not called Thunderbirds Argo?
No, I think the film was just called Thunderbirds. I'm not entirely sure. Don't fact check me on this. I don't much like JD Vance. I didn't agree to this podcast to be fact checked, but they announced this week that they're doing a Busted versus McFly tour in 2025.
Fucking hell! It's like Alien versus Predator.
I know. Whoever wins, we lose. It's amazing though, because they're like working a wrestling angle for it. Like they're coming out at each other's gigs and going, I've been hearing round here that McFly think they're the hot shit, but in fact Busted are the hot shit. And McFly go, we're good at the songs. So I shall be going to that. Jess, how are you?
I'm okay. Amazingly, like life has decided to throw some irony at me that this is the first day in my child's kind of school run. This is her halfway through primary 2 now, that their alarms didn't go off in the morning.
Nice.
So like we're all doing a mad dash, and literally Alarmo should be turning up today. It's almost as if Nintendo like hacked my iOS devices to make me feel better about this over-the-top purchase.
So was it your iPhone alarms that didn't go off?
My
that
iPhone
has happened to me 2 times. Since not including the time I slept in, but it genuinely has happened to me. And I looked online, and apparently iOS 18 is full of bugs that make alarms stop working.
What concerns me, considering that we've got to be at the airport in 2 days' time at 5 a.m. It's like I'll have like every alarm and Alarmo working at full stretch to make sure.
8 a.m. in your house fucking explodes with noise. Speaking of Alarmo enthusiasts, Andy Robinson's here. How are you?
Hello.
You doing good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, it's the correct day of the week, isn't it?
Correct
Friday.
Day of the week.
Yeah.
We've got big plans this evening, I believe. What's on the schedule?
Apparently.
You're going to go and eat wings and drink beer?
I'm going to eat wings and drink beer tonight. Yeah, because it's Friday. That's what you do. It's the ritual.
Yeah. Is it a Brewdog situation, or are you going somewhere else?
I am going to go to Brewdog. Yeah, it's funny you should say that. I'm going to order
Michael Parkinson here.
See, I'm a proper sicko though. I like to get the cider with the lightning bolt next to it, like which serves as a health warning. This is a 8% cider, and they give it to you in a silly little port glass, and it is good though.
Well, you never get us drinking unhealthy drinks.
No, not at all. Thanks to the monster.
Moving on.
I was on a press trip this week, and one of the boys that were there had a Monster backpack, like an actual Monster branded backpack, and I was like, how do I not have a Monster backpack? I do more for the brand than anyone at the Monster Corporation. So I think it's maybe like, you know, the comedian John Mulaney is a recovering alcoholic, so he went to 0% alcohol beer and said, I'll be your spokesperson, and they were like, you're not the person that we want to advertise 0% beer. Maybe they look at us and are like, you're not the people we want to advertise our energy drink. Yeah. This high energy podcast, guys. Maybe we should just start shouting and bawling. What are you going to do with your weekend, Andy? That it's pishy international football and not real football?
I know, that is rubbish, isn't it? There's nothing worse than an international break.
Yeah.
Save maybe like kidney stones or, you know, treading in dog poo. It's up there. I don't know, mate. Honestly, I've considered like just having a nice healthy weekend.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I won't. Inevitably won't. But I'm going to Gamescom Asia on Tuesday. So I've actually got quite a bit to do to prep for that.
Is it your first time in that part of the world?
Asia? No.
Singapore.
Singapore. It is in that part of the world. Singapore. No, I've never been to Singapore. I'm quite looking forward to it. It does sort of look like if a country was made by Marriott Bonvoy, like or Westfield. Like it is just like looks like a big Westfield.
Yeah.
On that, there is a Pokemon Center in the Singapore airport that I'll need to liaise with you because there's some serious.
You can liaise as much as you want, mate.
Yeah.
Since this trip is going to be, I'm going to be returning with a 6-foot Wii remote plus whatever else I can get.
Oh, so you're going straight from Singapore to Japan then?
Yeah, I looked. So when I did it, I was like, "Oh, that's not far. It's just like the Spain of Asia, isn't it? Just a little trip to like Malaga or something." No,
That makes sense. That makes sense now because I was looking at the calendar and it's like, why is he going to go to Singapore for a week and a half?
Yeah.
that makes sense now.
There's so much to do there.
I know. Singapore, man.
Yeah, I've got some another secret thing in Japan, but otherwise it will be vacation.
Gamescom Hong Kong.
Alarmo 2. Oh yeah, they're holding Gamescom Hong Kong in Japan. Speaking of Alarmo 2, before we get to Alarmo 1, you can get more podcast videos and VGC at patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Video Games Chronicle is the #1 home of Chris Scullion and Jordan Midler going to the UK's biggest game shop tomorrow. And we're going to go there with one Harry Mitchell, and he's going to film us spending too much money. Chris, Forgotten Worlds in Falkirk.
I'm terrified of going there. Like, because I've seen like a couple of.
Don't know why, mate. Me and you went to Japan for a week and a half, and you didn't buy nothing.
I know, but it's like, and it's
you
knowledge.
Car.
Exactly, it's a knowledge I don't have to jam it into a suitcase. It's like, I don't know. I guess bad news, but I'm looking forward to it, but also not. I've seen a few clips of it, but not wanted to spoil it for myself. It looks like they've got everything.
So we're gonna go there, see what we can get. Basically, just walk through the entire shop, picking up everything and going, this is this. The full version of that, the full uncut raw version, depending on what Chris Scullion says, will go on Patreon, and a shorter version will be public. Story #1: Nintendo has announced new hardware. Nintendo's Alarmo interactive clock is now available in Europe. The interactive sound clock retails for $89.99 in the UK and is only available for purchase by Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. Play sounds inspired by Nintendo games to wake up the user. The clock reacts to body movement by playing other sounds from the company's games. You can snooze it because it's an alarm clock, and apparently that's a feature. It's not out in the US and Canada till next year, but 2/3 of this podcast already own it. Chris Scullion, how are you feeling about Alarmo?
I think it's disgustingly overpriced, which is why I was there the second it went up. It's weird. It's the sort of thing that a lot of
Nintendo's great though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the only
it's actually made by the guy. Like I was looking. I meant to look into it. They seem to be like the chief weirdos.
Yeah,
like the guys who made it. It's like they worked on like Ring Fit Adventure and
and it's like, it's basically, it could be an app, but it probably couldn't because maybe the motion sense and stuff couldn't, but most of the functionality could work as just like a £3 app. But the fact they've made a weird clock for it, I'm up for that. It's far too expensive, and I'll probably regret buying it. But I'm up for it. I'm happy with it.
It is very like in the same month that they release that they open the museum with all their previous weird stuff that they made. They're like, you know what, we're going to make an alarm clock now.
But also saw somebody pointed out this is actually Iwata's quality of life thing that he spoke about a decade ago.
It's the first thing I thought of. Yeah. Did that not cross your mind?
Well, because in my head, every time I hear that, I always think of that weird finger pulse thing that they were doing.
Yeah, the vitality sensor.
Yeah,
but they've been patenting stuff and talking about stuff like this for over a decade. Yeah, like that's when I saw it. It's the quality of life thing.
Clock. Yeah.
So I'm sure they even, without looking into it, that I'm sure there was an interview after they cancelled it where somebody even said, it was a sleep, like they were doing this trying stuff with sleep.
Someone on social media dug out, like I can't remember because it was really late at night when I saw it, but dug out some of the original kind of announcements, and it suggested it was going to be a non-wearable sleep tracking device that uses RF radio signals, and it's basically exactly what this has ended up being. Like a decade after he mentioned it, he's like, "It's a bit late now, lads. Yeah. I'm not here."
Maybe technology is caught up. I don't know, or maybe they're at the point where they've dropped their standards. I don't know.
We've finally been able to invent a clock.
It's funny because I don't know if you read the Q&A on the Nintendo website, the interview with developers, that the guy who interviewed him looked like an idiot because he says to them, "Oh, is this another example of Gunpei Yokoi's weather technology thing where you take cheap stuff and the guy's like, no, this RF radio stuff's actually pretty high tech, mate. So this isn't cheap shit. But yeah, I'm curious to see what I'm excited about more alarms getting added to it, because they've got 5 at launch, and then they're adding Mario Kart, and
it's a bit weird
Animal
they're not selling
Crossing
it with
ones.
Animal Crossing. Like both my daughters immediately were like, "Where's Animal Crossing?"
Yeah, it seems logical that you
Any Pokemon?
not yet. It's what is it? It's Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild, Ring Fit Adventure, that absolute gem, and a 5th one that I've forgotten. But
Ring Fit Adventure is a good game, but that's a weird choice for an alarm clock.
Yeah, I'll take it though. But I hope they go retro at some point and like start. I mean, you've got to have an Ocarina one where you wake up in the morning, it goes, "Hey, listen!" Like that wakes you up. That wouldn't be annoying at all.
Hey, listen is the name of the trophy in Metaphor Refantasio for consulting your little fairy person 100 times, and occasionally her wee dialogue will be her doing "Hey, listen."
Well, that's brave
of them.
Really
put me off her.
That's brave of them. since Nintendo lawyers up at the drop of a rupee.
What are they going to do to Atlas? They're nowhere near them. This is going to be like the Power World situation where we found out that the developers of Power World are a 20-minute walk from the Pokemon company. Yeah, this is funny. What if this is how they announced the Switch 2? You wake up one morning and it's, "This is Miyamoto."
Hey, if this is how they announce it,
get out of bed.
If this is how they announce it, I'm delighted, because I did manage to buy one without any issue whatsoever, because clearly nobody wants it. So yeah, but I'm glad I got an Alarmo easier than I got signed up for Nintendo's online test. We'll talk about in a bit, because I couldn't get that. That disappeared in 30 seconds. I didn't get in.
Well, Alarmo, interesting. We'll keep you posted on all the hottest Alarmo coverage. Yeah. Let's get forward then. Nintendo announces a mysterious Switch Online playtest for a quote new feature. The test, simply called Nintendo Switch Online Playtest Program, will take place between October 24th and November 6th. It says here you can apply to participate, but no, you can't. It's all shut up shop. 10,000 participants. Blah blah blah. Customers will need to download exclusive software to their own Nintendo Switch system in order to participate. Chris Collier, what is this? What is the message here?
It sounds like it's a streaming thing, because the people who did manage to get in the 30-second window when it was open, then apparently got a message saying, "We'll send you a link to download something on the eShop. We recommend a wired connection." Which sounds to me like something that requires a lot of bandwidth. So I think it's going to be a streaming test.
Don't they already do this though?
They do, but I don't think Nintendo has. Like they stuff like Kingdom Hearts and the Resi 2 remake are on the Switch, but there's cloud versions, and it's weird because as soon as it was announced that, everyone went up yours, and then just moved on. And nobody's spending money on that, but people are speculating that if they're going to start adding GameCube stuff to Switch Online.
Oh, no.
I hope it's optional. I hope if that is what it is, I hope it's optional and not the way of doing it. For people who don't want to download a bunch of GameCube games to their console, they can.
That sounds like instead. I think that is utter nonsense.
Who's
come up with that?
That seems to be the generally accepted.
Accepted bullshit. You can quote me on this.
I clearly said speculation. Like nobody knows. For the record, nobody knows what this is. But the fact it requires a lot of bandwidth suggests that it'll be something maybe streaming related. And I think
I think it probably will be streaming related.
And I think because it requires,
see why they would make GameCube in particular.
I think it's because it requires the expansion pack for the test. People are putting 2 and 2 together and getting 12. And deciding that, well, if it's the expansion pack, then it must be another retro thing. It's like, no, they just want the expansion pack so to narrow down the list of potential.
It's going to be something very boring.
I hope so.
If they treat the GameCube games like Sony treats the PS3 games, then what's the point in all this? Just shut up shop. I mean, how big is a GameCube file? I've never personally downloaded
it's more. I think it's more the fact.
Large.
I think it's more the fact that a GameCube game you're talking about, at the most, depending on how the emulation goes, at a couple of gigs. But obviously the stock Switch doesn't have a lot of storage in it, so they've got to account for kind of situations like that. But I'm not massively concerned about that. I think if even if it was that, and again, there's absolutely no suggestion that that is what it is. You've got to imagine there's a download option as well for people, because like they've proven with Mario 3D All Stars that it can handle kind of emulated GameCube games.
Is there a chance that they're just testing something for Switch 2 on Switch 1? Like this is a bigger
Possibly.
part of the Switch 2 plan, and the hardware is similar enough that they can just kind of mess about with it. Because like
Possibly
the Nintendo eShop and stuff like that is so incredibly slow. The time it takes to download big games on that thing is ridiculous. But
yeah.
I'm
It
sure.
could-
I mean,
it
as
could
soon
be
as it's
anything.
public, we'll find out. It'll be on Twitter.
That's
so.
the thing. They've asked everyone not to share it, but you know it'll be shared within 30 seconds of
Yeah,
the
within
app going up,
30 seconds.
So we'll see.
Quiet. Don't tell Nintendo's secrets.
So we'll
Even
find
though
out.
they'd firebomb your house if it was the opposite way around.
We'll find out in 2 weeks that it's literally just a speed test simulator.
Yeah,
it'll literally just be a number that goes up really fast. Depending on your
Excuse me
download
one
speed.
moment. My vacuum cleaner is trapped.
We're getting live updates here. Andy Robinson's vacuum cleaner has been trapped. Chris, we go to you live at the scene. If we get any news on how it was trapped,
Nothing yet. From what I can determine, it would appear that this vacuum cleaner must have some sort of message sending capabilities. It appears to have sent a notification to Andy's phone saying "SOS, please help me."
if you're just joining us, the details are spotty, but we know a vacuum cleaner has been trapped in the Cockney area of London. Rescuers are on the scene.
So good. He's all right.
Oh,
thank
well,
God.
breaking news.
Can confirm it's been rescued.
It's been rescued.
Not often we get a news story with a happy ending, but the vacuum cleaner has been rescued.
Yeah.
Do you know it's the best thing I've ever bought?
Is it a Roomba?
I don't even know what that is, but it's a robot vacuum cleaner.
You don't know what a Roomba is?
No.
How have you not just absorbed
Look at the
that?
absolute offence in his face.
How have you not just absorbed that via pop culture? Do we
Basically-
suck it?
Roomba, isn't that like a shit
shit
gym
Goomba?
dance?
No,
That's the Roomba.
That's the Roomba. It's the,
No, the Roomba is like the equivalent of a Hoover to a vacuum cleaner. It's the trademark name for a robot vacuum cleaner. So
it's the wee
All right.
circular disc. It spins about like
Oh,
Robot
yeah, it's
Wars.
one of those.
yeah.
How have you? But I just don't understand how you can have been living in pop culture and never heard the name Roomba before. That's
Why
not-
is it on what?
Living in pop culture.
It's
I
on
rem-
everything.
I remember when Roomba was on
Was
the
it like
cover of
Taylor
Smash
Swift
Hits.
bring one out on her Eras tour or something?
Chris, you know
She
what a
ride
Roomba
in
is?
on a Roomba.
I know what a Roomba is, but I'm not sure how it relates to pop culture. I don't think
Because
I've
how do you
ever-
know what a Roomba is? Because you've heard it on the Simpsons and on all sorts.
What?
Remember the episodes where they got a Roomba?
I haven't watched The Simpsons since I was like in my cot.
How do I know what a Roomba is then? Via American TV shows. Because people put cats on their Roombas and they go spinning away. Roomba's got so much free advertising off this podcast in the last 90 seconds. Although perhaps not the best, considering the brand identity is, how do you not know what this is?
I know. How do you not know what this is and get stuck and sends notifications to your phone?
The end point of this story will Andy look at his phone and goes, oh yeah, this is actually a Roomba. I just didn't notice.
Definitely not
Notifications
Roomba.
is Roomba brand.
Yeah, Roomba has exploded. Next story, not Roomba related. Following its EA split, FIFA is partnering with Konami for electronic sports. As part of the initiative, 2 FIFA eWorld Cups featuring eFootball are scheduled to take place later this year on mobile and console. FIFA has been without a proper licensed video game since it split from EA after FIFA 23. Chris, so this seems to be that they're just using eFootball as the method to decide their winner of their World Cup, but you have to assume this is the start of something new.
Maybe I would never dream of making an assumption after
have
making
to
my GameCube
assume.
assumption. No, this story is the perfect actual experiment on how many people actually read a story. Because if you look at the Twitter replies to this story, it's full of people saying, "Well, what? So Konami's making the next FIFA?" It's like, no, that's quite clearly not what it says yet. It says that literally FIFA is sponsoring Konami's football tournament in the future at some point. That doesn't mean that Konami's making a FIFA game. It doesn't mean they're not. But the rumours and the speculation we've been hearing for a while, and that most people seem to think, is that it's 2K that's going to be doing that. Again, we've got no way of knowing that, but that seems to be what people are thinking. This makes things a bit more interesting because you've got to imagine it would be a lot easier just to slap the FIFA branding on eFootball, and just kind of go.
What would they call it? FIFA's eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer.
There's your eFootball game for all the e-girls and e-boys, sorted right there. It's literally got E in the title, but yeah, this is literally just a tournament sponsorship deal, and we can't read too much into it just now without knowing more.
This is it's endemic of how thick people are. That immediately following this, they were like, I saw people on Twitter being like, "Oh, it's going to be like Ultimate Team, but it'll play like eFootball," and it's like all the Ultimate Team stuff is EA. That's why FC24 is basically the same game it's always been. Like FIFA was just a licensing partner, and also just because they have the FIFA license doesn't mean they have like the, is it called like FIFA Pro or FIF Pro, the actual Players Association. Knowing Konami, they would buy the FIFA license and then just not bother with the players, so you get Neil Lemon again. Some
player Neil Lemon.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like a football competitor. I like EAFC this year so far. I mean, it's not caused me too much grief. I packed Claudio Marquezio last night, feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Not to burst the bubble, but I don't think Konami's making FIFA.
No,
I think I think 2K is making FIFA.
Yeah.
I think you go and, I mean, it's like, again, it's not a story that I've published, but it was something that I was looking into. That's the chatter. I think that 2K are doing a FIFA. It's going to be FIFA 2K. If anyone else wants to go and do this, it's not difficult. Go and dig through LinkedIn and look at the sheer amount of ex-FIFA guys who've been signed by 2K Sports. Mm-hmm. It's more than a few in fact a Vancouver studio, which I think might even be a new studio, right? 2K Vancouver. Not sure if they had one there, but obviously that's where the FIFA team is, in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So I believe that 2K are making FIFA, and I reckon we'll probably see it. When's the next World Cup?
The next one's in America.
26.
Yeah, we'll try and get tickets for that.
My educated, well, it's not a guess, but if I was going to place a bet, it would be that we'll see FIFA 2K by then for that World Cup, especially it being in America.
So is that separate from the goal thing then? Because is that just as goal the Lego one? Because they made Lego,
but they haven't even announced that, right?
That seemed to just disappear.
So I mean, they clearly, So maybe the conversation started from that. But that's another thing. Obviously, we reported. I don't know when that was, a couple of years ago. But that is a thing.
I wonder if they're sitting on that to put FIFA branding on that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be something like that. But you also got to keep in mind, I'm pretty sure the 2K drive, 2K Drive, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. 2K Drive, Lego Drive, was it?
Yeah.
Didn't that really badly bomb, despite being quite good? I seem to remember.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're looking at that. I mean, obviously the market is not what it was for when they would have been signing those deals. Kids are taking less chances on new stuff. So who knows whether they still exist?
At the end of the day, if it was going to have been Konami, it would have happened by now. I think they have a football game sitting there, like ready, and it's kind of, you would think it would be a lot easier to slap the FIFA branding on that and make the next season of eFootball FIFA, rather than building a whole new game from scratch, which is what it sounds like 2K is doing. So if the story had been Konami is doing the next FIFA, I think we would already have it by now. And the fact we don't lends further credence to these reports that it's likely to be 2K.
A 2K FIFA is terrifying. Like, see if they take the same approach as the NBA games and like the career mode as you walking about like a big city and stuff like that. Like, oh god. It's a weird situation because I think the transition to FC was incredibly smooth. Like, I don't think there is anyone that didn't understand that the game you go and get in August is basically just the continuation of FIFA. Like, the covers still looked like FIFA and all that stuff. I just wonder if there was to be room, there has to be a Ultimate Team equivalent, and it would be like my team with like virtual currency and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure 2K are rubbing their hands at the concept of that, but I bet you we start to see. And this has kind of happened with AC Milan and Internazionale being PES exclusive. We'll get back to the days where these games are signing exclusive deals with teams to not have them in the other ones, which is always just shite in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not good. But
yeah, I don't have room in my life for another football game, and I love football games. I love football and I love football games. I just can't play anymore.
All this time, UFL sitting there going, guys,
I know.
come on.
It's all right. UFL have got the license to hashtag United, so
I'm still curious about that one. Like the kind of really early beta, alpha tests I was in weren't great, but it was alpha tests, so like that's fine. It got the recent kind of open beta got an absolute shitload of people signing up, mainly because Ronaldo, who's invested in it, like mentioned it in his stories, his Instagram, telling people go and get it. So it got like millions of people testing it. So we'll see. That could, with Ronaldo's clout behind it, that could actually start okay. It's whether it's going to be fun enough to kind of keep people around as a serious contender.
Well, Ronaldo, great judge of moral character. We have another football story, but we'll get to that after this short break. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Remember, bonus podcasts, videos, and more at patreon.com/videogameschronicle. This week we published the third episode of CVG, Chatting Vintage Games, a horror spectacular, with my old mate Ash Millman, who you may know from PlayStation Access and What Culture. That was good fun, Chris.
It was really good fun. I enjoyed it. I've liked the fact that on the Discord, on the VGC Discord, a lot of Patreon people were saying I have no interest in horror whatsoever, but still really enjoyed that, which is a good thing to see, because that's always the worry when you cover a genre like that, is that a lot of people just go not interested and don't listen. So I'm glad that people are kind of giving it a go and they were liking it despite not caring about horror much. But yeah, it was all good. I saw one person saying they'd happily watch me talk about horror games for 3 hours. I'm not sure I can commit to that.
That was Alex. He's the one that helped me with my Astrobot magazine quest, so he's got bigger problems. He's got bigger fish to fry. Next month we'll be doing Mr. Anthony Hawk. Very excited about that. Maybe we can get him on.
That's good. I'll give Tony Hawk a shout and see if he's up to much.
Yeah, get him on the blower. Speaking of VGC, the VGC team is returning to print with the 2025 Guide to Video Games. Chris Gillian, tell us all about the 2025 Guide to Video Games.
It's a book.
It's a book. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next week.
No, we obviously at VGC we're massive on preservation, and obviously a lot of us have like magazine backgrounds, and those who don't, like yourself, obviously read lots of magazines back in the day. So magazines are a big deal for us, and just print media in general. And in the past, like Andy and I have both been burned by like our digital kind of output kind of disappearing without trace every now and then. Not that that's going to happen to VGC anytime soon, but so we got the opportunity to do like a print version of VGC. We've thought, yeah, that we're up for that. Let's definitely do that. So the book is basically an annual of sorts, but like a more kind of premium version of a magazine. So like the kind of old Best of Sega you used to get, like Sega Power used to do, and Sega Pro magazine used to do special thick magazines at the end of the year where they'd collate all the reviews together. So it's kind of like that, but with a bit more work involved, because we're basically taking every review we done in 2024 up to like mid-November probably because of deadlines, and completely repurposing every one to fit into a magazine structure, so into like little columns and with art and stuff to make it kind of, so it's not just copying and pasting the text in. We've had to kind of rework every review. Then we'll get a 2025 preview section where we cover about 20 games and you give each one a proper 2-page spread. A news section where we break down all the past year's news in a kind of more entertaining, like kind of comedy way. And then at the back we'll have a letters page like magazines would have, like, and getting patrons to write us letters at some point. So yeah, it's designed with old school magazines in mind, but obviously it is a book. It's a proper like hardback book. So it's a quality kind of product. And we've got Will Overton who does like loads of the kind of, he did like so many amazing 90s magazine covers to illustrate the cover for us. And it looks fantastic. So yeah, we're genuinely excited about it, and it's no secret that print is kind of not doing great just now, and it's not like we're not under any illusions that this is going to be the way forward for VGC. It's just it's a nice extra it's a nice way of preserving our work in a more kind of physical way, and having something from the site that you can put in your bookshelf, and hopefully if it does well enough and warrants a second one or a third one, you can kind of have the almanac of every year on your shelf, all going well.
If you line them all up, after 10 years, it's actually just an image of me going like that. So be sure to collect them all. Andy, how you feeling about our foray into print, or pivot to print, as everyone's doing?
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to have something physical. It's, you know, you talk about preservation, but it is a true thing, right? I mean, when CVG was closed 10 years ago, our stuff just got deleted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've got like a whole ton of like every like magazine cover I've ever done, I've got on my desk. You know, I mean, obviously I've done a lot less than Chris has because I was never full time, but I can keep that stuff and put it on a shelf. Yeah. Whereas everything we wrote for CVG is for all intent and purposes gone. You know, so it's quite cool. You know, it's a bit of we're trying it out. Obviously, we jumped to the opportunity. The initial reaction's been like really positive, as we kind of thought it would be. You know, let's see how it goes. So I think Chris is doing a really good job so far. He knows what he's doing.
We're getting there. Yeah,
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's the same publisher who handles my encyclopedias that I do every year. So I've done like 5 or 6 books with them already. So luckily it's not a situation where we're kind of treading water with a new publisher and kind of building a relationship with them. But I'm already kind of quite friendly with them, and they've been really great and really supportive in helping us plan out the new layout and everything. So yeah, it's more work than I thought it would be, because obviously you're taking 40, 50 reviews at least and kind of repurposing every one of them, and then writing the rest of the stuff. So it's more work than we expected, but I think it's going to look really good. And if it does well enough, it's a good... it will make doing subsequent books a bit easier, because we've obviously come into this late in the year, whereas hopefully if it does well and we do another, then we just repurpose the reviews as we write them, and we're kind of going forward. But yeah, I'm excited about it. If you check the VGC site, we've got a kind of sample spread on the news story, so you can see what a review might look like, or is likely to look like on it. But yeah, all good.
We will also have discounts for patrons. Is that correct?
Correct. Paid Patreon members will get like a discount code which I think I'm sending out today on the Patreon. I'm going to post it today, and that'll get you 30% off of the pre-order on the publisher site.
Woo! Wow! God, my voice is going. I've already been asked a couple of times if we're going to be signing any.
This is something we're looking into.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, because of the pre-order structure, if we're asking people to pre-order the book, so quite clearly we can't sign those ones. But what the publisher is offering is book plates, which is like a really fancy kind of thing that a lot of signed copies of books do, which is where if the author can't be there physically to sign the book, they get sent these book plates, which are essentially elaborate labels, like a really high quality label that you sign and then send to the person, and they put it in the book themselves. So it's the next best thing to signing it physically. So my proposal, and I don't know if you are up for it, is that the publisher sends one of us a bunch of these book plates, and we meet up one day and just sign them all in a winner, and then send them off to the corners of the globe for people who request them. I think we absolutely should do that. That's the best.
And we film us signing it. Then
that's the thing. If we turn it into content, video content of the boys.
Content. The content mills never stop. 1 in 100 books will actually just be signed by Ben Starr doing the 3 of our signatures.
1 in 300 books will contain a vial of my blood poured over like the front page. So that's called a chase book.
What's the price for your blood, Andy?
One large foam Wii remote.
His blood's got the antidote in it, so it's priceless.
Yeah. I have never been published in print in my entire career. Didn't freelance for any print places.
This change your byline on the book.
This would be the first place.
This isn't lost on
Fiddler.
Yeah, this isn't lost on me, the fact that we're committing your worst to print for the first time. I'm like, despite that, I still think we should go ahead with the book.
Yeah. It's going to be it's going to be used in a court case one day. Don't worry about it. When I bludgeon someone to death with the side of it.
It'll be a heavy book. Just to clarify, like the other ones that they've published, it's got heft to it. So
someone runs up to us asking for our autograph, and I just twat them across the face with it. Go away, Alex. Give me more Astrobot covers. I know you've given me them all, but come on now. Andy, before you secured this Wiimote thing, was this all that you thought about? Had this consumed your every waking thought?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I have very little to think about in my general day to day.
Speaking of consuming things, I was sat in the Prague airport yesterday, and I very, very, very luckily managed to get one of those grey PlayStation 5s, and I've really no idea what to do with it, because despite people at the PS5 Pro preview event asking Sony reps, and they're like, yeah, it fits, other Sony reps have been like, nah, the plates don't fit on the Pro. So I'm very likely to just have a PlayStation 5 digital edition that I shan't be using because I would want to use the Pro. But I get the controller wraps, like the ones that are the shapes. So that was worth the £430. I'm sure you can agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's actually I was quite surprised those even went on open pre-order. I thought they would just be direct and that was it, but they seem to go up everywhere very briefly.
I'm curious to see how many of those they're making, because obviously the Pro is comically limited numbers, but they didn't put a limit on the digitals, so it looks like that's pretty not easy to get hold of, but easier.
Regular PS5 Pro sold out everywhere though. Can't
Has
get
it?
them for love nor money.
Has it? Has it though?
Not a single one sat
I
there.
think I could probably find one fairly quickly.
Okay, Football Manager 25 has been delayed by 4 months. Sega and Sports Interactive announced that the game will now release in March 2025 instead of its planned November 26 release date. Quote, after careful consideration, Sports Interactive have made the tough decision to further delay the release of Football Manager 25. Following discussions with Sega, our licensors and partners, we've agreed the best course of action is to delay the launch. The game is set to be one of the most notable updates in the series history, mainly down to the inclusion of women's football, new graphics system, a move to the Unity engine, and it would, quote, mark the starting point for the studio's next 20 years. The game was only just updated, it was only just delayed about 10 days ago, and they also started taking pre-orders 9 days ago, and now they've punted it to March. Chris, this is a bad look, as the kids say.
Yeah, it's I worry about I worry about this now.
Yeah.
Football Manager's got like a really dedicated and passionate fan base, and they were this is a really ambitious one, like the article says, like they're shifting its graphics to the Unity engine, which is like a massive undertaking, especially when you've got a game with a database this size and all this kind of stuff that goes with it. The addition of women's football is no small thing either, because that's a hell of a lot of new leagues, a hell of a lot of new kind of rule structures to put in there, and a lot of obviously the graphics will need to change for that as well.
And it needs to be a different calculation. Like, physical attributes affect players differently if they're male or female. Like, FIFA faced that problem where the first year that women were in it, they were all absolutely rapid. They all had like 90 pace, but like 50 strength. Like, it has to be. Obviously, they're not I don't think they're doing like cross, like male versus female in Football Manager, but it still affects how the game plays.
It's a weird one, because it's curious to see how this is all going to end when it finally comes out. Is this the delay that will solve any issues they have, and when it comes out it's going to be the best Football Manager ever? Or is this kicking the can down the road because it's not looking great, and when it comes out in March it still won't be the vision that they had, and people are going to turn on it? I hope it's the former. Because fans of football management games don't have a lot of big alternatives. It's basically this or
Download Championship Manager 2001. Yeah. Like, Andy, I'm shocked they are not just kicking this down the road to Football Manager 26. Releasing a 25 in March 25 is pretty surprising.
Yeah, and I still suspect that might be what they do right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're quite transparent. Sports Interactive. I mean, if you message Miles, he'll reply.
Yeah.
I don't think it would take much, asking to even get him to come on the podcast and talk about it. So I don't want to give the impression that there might be like an too emotive thing here, but it just seems logical, right? Like, are they going to release one in March and then another one in November? I don't know. I guess at the moment their priority is just getting it to a state that's acceptable, because this is to exactly to your point, this is a multi-year decision, right? It's not just about one release. This is going to affect their pipeline going on forever.
Yeah.
It's surprising to me that most of the Football Manager community reaction to this that I saw was like, okay, just release a 2024 transfer update, like an official one. Like, there's already mods and stuff like that happen on the first day, but transfer update, put in the new kits, which they will have to do for licensing reasons, and then save everything else for an actual 26 in like August next year, whenever they plan to put it out.
With a database that size though, like that, it's not an easy task either, especially when you're trying to make a game that's been delayed, like to put resources into that on a game that's already been bought by people.
Well, yeah, you have to.
But I get it.
The database, like the data of who plays for who, must have already been done at this point. So, like, you think that,
I think if it's been delayed to March, I don't know about holding fire until November, but does not make sense to then delay it further until the start of the football season, at least, and then, or at least the start of. Obviously, football seasons start different.
I mean, the fact that they've done this twice in, what did you say, the space of a week?
It was 9 days between the first delay and the second.
Well, that
delay
suggests that they are kind of thinking on their feet now. I'm sure they're still. They just, they need to tell people they're not going to get the game, this side of Christmas, and work out the rest later, I imagine.
And a 4-month delay makes it sound like there are quite a few issues there that still need to be addressed, and so 4 months is probably an estimate that has the potential to get pushed even further back as March approaches, and they go, actually, this is still taking long, because the statement makes it clear that this is taking longer than they thought it would. The switch to Unity and all this other stuff isn't going as seamlessly as they'd hoped. So March is no guarantee either. So we'll see. I think releasing it around about football season time would make sense, especially if like we say, they're not going to release another one in November, so it makes sense to do that.
This is also a community that expects, when they put out the Football Manager beta a month before the full release of the game, the beta is essentially the full game. So people buy the game knowing, okay, we'll get in a month before, we can play hundreds of hours in the beta. Then this year they announced they weren't doing that, and it was like the red flags were from there.
If you bring out the season starts and call it Football Manager 2025-26, and like name it after seasons instead of the year, because people will say, why are you releasing 25 right after the summer in 2025? But if you call it Football Manager 25-26, like with the season naming structure, then that seems like a logical.
I think they might, as you referred to in the Slack, like they might do a 2K and just skip a year, because I mean that didn't affect 2K at all. Like, people understood what the thing was. Like, it just becomes a weird footnote that, there wasn't a Football Manager 25. Obviously, it's a weird situation where when you're dealing. Also, I think this is the first year that they had the full license to the Premier League and stuff like that. So maybe there is just an impetus that we need to, like, the money we're paying to license holders, we need to get this product out. We can't wait until 26 when an entire year's worth of like assets and kits and stuff like that are no longer relevant. So it's an interesting one, but
I mean, maybe that's the issue. Maybe Brighton and Hove Albion are holding everything up because they're arguing over rights.
That is just like them.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Those seagulls. Matt H in Discord basically asked that question. So asked and answered, Matt H. Other Discord questions. One for you, Andy. Bench. JC, Jesus Christ, asks, what's it like working in a media outlet that runs on European time when most of the industry news drops on US time?
I don't think that's typically true, that last point. Most news runs probably on, I would say, on European time. That's a big advantage for us. By the time the Americans wake up, we've already done a day's work. I mean, everyone knows the most common drops for announcements is like 2 and 3 p.m. because you get the US morning, you get the European, kind of afternoon, you get Asia's nighttime.
Yeah.
That's when you see live streams, major live streams held and stuff like that, because you get a mostly global audience. So in terms of time zone, it's absolutely our biggest advantage. If we'd have tried to set up VGC in the US, I imagine it would have been perhaps more difficult as a pure news proposition, even though they probably have more opportunities for being, kind of in close proximity to all of the kind of big games companies. Hopefully that answers the question.
There's also the annoying current trend of the occasional 11 p.m. UK time announcement where we're all sat in our bed and I'll have to sit up and go, oh, I've just announced the Switch 3. But yeah, it's
rare that happens, right? But you have to put yourself in the shoes of, kind of like the American guys, where that's probably a regular occurrence. Like, our embargoes are at 2 p.m. Their embargoes are like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not very often that we are up at stupid o'clock doing stuff like that.
You said Switch 3, maybe Nintendo will do what 2K did. Skip a year. You'll go from Switch 1 straight to Switch 3 and say, listen, the OLED was a 2, shut up.
They're just going to call it the Nintendo Switch, but it'll have 2 eyes, so it'll be the Switch, and that'll be the 2. Any day.
It'll be an enormous console with 2 Wii remotes instead of Joy-Cons.
I mean, they have that sat at the Nintendo Museum, so the prototype. So that's top of Andy's list of things to steal. I really hope when Andy goes to the Nintendo Museum, it's full of fucking Americans being very loud, and he just goes absolutely crazy.
It will definitely be full of very loud Americans, won't it?
And this is the Famicom Discs system.
The family computer?
This thing played magnetic discs.
Wow. Hane Fuda cards?
I'm already angry.
Where's Pokemon?
This
Mario.
Long before Elon Musk was launching satellites.
We love you all, American listeners.
Yeah, we do. We love Americans.
Mate, I've got a US visa. I'm proud to be an American because at least I know I'm free. Never forget.
Long before Elon Musk was launching satellites, Nintendo released a Satellaview for the Super Famicom computer.
We should release an official, get Andy to film a walk through the museum, and then we record commentary that people can listen to as they walk through the museum. That'd be cool to go to.
But it'd be honest commentary as well. There's Clue Land in the NES, load of shite.
That's absolutely shite.
One of the worst
Pokemon stuff. Just, I want to buy Andy a GoPro, strap it to his chest for him going through the shop, so we can actually mic him up so we can see his entire thought process. His thought process will just be like, I'll just have that.
You'll hear the heart beating and it'll turn into Blair Witch. He'll just be sprinting through it. Like supermarket sweep.
Has there been anything in the shop that you've seen that you've been like, that's maybe a bit much money-wise, or I probably don't need a Virtual Boy pacemaker?
No, usually that realization comes after I've purchased it and brought it home, and then I've just got a stack of stuff. There's this the shelf behind me. I've got when I was in Japan in the summer, the Nintendo Kyoto store is doing a collaboration with local artisans. So it's a really nice £100 wooden box with Nintendo Kyoto etched into it, and it's got a fan, some local fan store made a fan. So now I've just got a box with a fan in it that's on a shelf. Yeah, didn't need that.
When I was at Bit Summit, they made a big deal of, if you go to the Nintendo booth at Bit Summit and play an indie game at the Nintendo booth, they'll give you a fan that says Nintendo Indie World in it, but in Japanese. I'm like, that's really cool. So I did it a few times after. I just got a bunch of fans that have got Japanese writing on them that mean nothing to anyone. But that's obviously I didn't spend money on it, so that's an awful anecdote. But I think we're going to have that buyer's remorse as soon as Alarmo turns up. To be fair,
yeah,
we're going to get it.
Undoubtedly, you'll use it once and then be like, okay, that's £100 up the Swanee.
Yeah.
See, for 7 Alarmos, Chris, you could get the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Listen, I wouldn't wipe my arse with it, mate. I'll happily buy 7 Alarmos instead and just put them on a bit
Alarmo Pro.
Exactly. I'll get a big like hoop, put 7 Alarmos around it, and just cover my entire head in Alarmo vision on the hoop.
The Alarmo being £100 makes the £100 disc drive a bargain, in my opinion. But one of these days, I'm going to bait you into actually buying.
Does your £100 disc drive make Splatoon sound effects when you scratch your ass?
Oh yeah, you walk about and go.
That's before you turn the alarm on.
Sounds like wanking.
I
Like,
know.
what are you doing?
That's before you even turn the alarm on. It's making that sound. Inevitably, I'm going to use it as a desk clock because my wife's going to say, "Get that off," and so I'm going to have to end up just kind of
when it starts going absolutely batshit at 3 a.m, going wahoo. House.
Look, we'll be in time for school now. Alarmo has helped us.
You need to take this to the next logical step. We need Nintendo Smoke Alarmo so that when your house goes up in flames, it can go, "Oh no!" We need.
Is your Toad when it.
We need carbon dioxide Alarmo.
When Toad notices there's a carbon dioxide leak in the house, to Nintendo Smoke Alarmo goes, "Ah!" And then maybe Toad appears and goes like waves his arms, and you've got to get out of the house.
Yeah,
Nintendo, we're giving you gold here.
I know, hire us. The thing is, they would announce that, and you'd go, "Yeah, okay, I'll buy it because it's got Mario on it."
I do have a lot of carbon monoxide. I should probably get that.
Nintendo, makers of dreams.
The some boys.
1 or 2 more questions. I was asked what's the best way to clean cat piss off a telly. Last night we were recording CVG. We were recording our Q&A, and towards the end, before the final question, I got a message from my lovely partner saying that my cat Kenobi has pissed on the telly, and he had pissed on the telly. But thankfully, I didn't have to clean it up. She did, so I don't know. I don't know the. I was about to say I don't know the meta for cleaning up cat piss, but I spend my entire fucking life cleaning up cat piss.
Is it telly functional? More importantly,
it was an old Sony shiter, so it was barely functional at the start. It's more.
It works now. It works better.
I need to fly tip.
Colours really pop.
Yeah, just a little like a yellow hue, like it's a Pit Boy. I need to fly tip it, but I can't be bothered because it's an old telly, and thus it weighs 40 stone.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to declare illegal activity. If
you say you're going to fly tip something before you do it, it's not illegal. That's okay. It's a double
Your Honour.
Your Honour, my cat pissed on it. What am I meant to do with it?
Oh, in that case, horse it down a hill.
throw this case out. This is a waste of court time. But yeah, it got cleaned up. When I'm cleaning up cat piss, I usually use this incredibly citrusy smelling apple stuff because citrus is meant to deter cats from pissing, but it seems to have riled them up into some sort of challenge.
You turn up in the morning, the cat's sitting on the couch just eating a lime, saying, "Is that right? Is that right, mate?"
looking straight at you.
No. Try again, mate.
Oh, he's a nice boy, really.
I love a lemon, so I do.
He just gets a bit confused. I actually think it was partially my fault because we have like a gate up to stop the dogs going downstairs when we're upstairs, and usually there is a space for him to get through. He couldn't get through, so he was like, "You know what, fuck this. I'm not going to tell anyone I can't get through this gate. I'm just going to piss on a telly."
Yeah,
good boy though. I think that's pretty much it. Any more, Chris Scullion?
Nope. I apologise in advance. I won't be in next week's podcast. Because I'll be following Mickey Mouse around like a lost boy with a wee autograph book. Mickey Mouse is some laddie.
Do you know the thing about the autographs and did I tell you this about the autographs in the Star Wars park? Where
you've mentioned something
the
like
Star
this.
Wars characters aren't allowed to give autographs to the kids.
That's
they have
weird,
to go like the Rey character has to go, "I'm not taking notes right now, thank you. I'm not." And then they'll go, "You want to come on an adventure?" So all these sweaty wee American children are falling about this lassie.
That woman who plays Rey looks so much like her, though.
I mean, it's not just one. They do
but
work
the one,
on shift.
The one who does the rounds on YouTube videos who looks like her.
Absolutely shattered. She's not had a day off in 4 years.
The one who looks like her looks like her. Like,
To be fair, like all the costume stuff, all that stuff looks brilliant, but you see all these American parents like pushing their kids, go and say hello to Chewbacca. Americans are really getting it this episode, but don't get the autograph of Chewbacca, and Chewbacca just looks at him.
I mean, if it's any consolation, but when I get back, the French will be getting both barrels. Like when I get, but I'm concerned the kid's going to be scared of. I've been seeing clips of Disneyland Paris because they've got all their Halloween stuff out just now, and she loves like Ghostbusters and like ghosts and all that kind of stuff. But the Jack Skellington costume that they wheel out for Halloween is quite terrifying because it's like the Jack Skellington head, and then the guy's lower mouth it can be seen underneath. Like so, it's like his jaws detached. It looks quite messed up. So
it's like those. It's like the big Ninja Turtles costumes where you can see like the people's faces.
Kind of, yeah. So like I'm hoping she'll be okay with that because it does look like. It's quite terrifying, but
get her to wear a Ghostbusters costume, and then a Disney IP
literally-
lawyer will
we
turn up
literally
and go, "That's not appropriate, get her out
we
here."
literally just got one yesterday. Like that's her Halloween costume for this year. It's like a Ghostbusters. But yeah, if she wears that at Disneyland, you get Mickey Mouse coming up going, "Oh, little girl, it is not Disney."
Does Mickey
Italian
speak in a
Mickey
French
Mouse.
accent?
That's Italian Mickey Mouse. Mamma mia, this is not.
What is this Ghostbuster?
Then Minnie Mouse turns up and goes, "Get out of here!" Turns out Minnie Mouse is German, which is like,
What is going on?
There's actually not a single person in Disneyland Paris who's French. They cover every European country, and like there's a Swiss Ratatouille.
Yeah,
It's weird.
always on time.
But never commits to an argument. But yeah. Anyway, that's enough stereotypes for this.
But if we do everyone, it's fine. Like
That's
we're
true.
not picking on one group. Although the French really do get it on this podcast, deservedly so.
They're not listening.
Yeah, exactly. They're too busy smoking 50 fags. You know what's a lovely place? Prague. I want to go back in a non-game capacity because we went for dinner at somewhere called Fat Cats, and it was proper like touristy. It had a sign outside that said "Husband Daycare, ladies. If you want to go shopping in Prague, leave your husband here." It's got posters of lassies in the walls and all that stuff. And I had some lovely cocktails. So VGC boys' holiday to Prague would be good fun.
Prague's
And
amazing.
at the end of dinner, do the fat cats appear and piss on a telly?
Yeah, at Mac Force. Very briefly, energy drinks Prague story. So on the way back from the dinner, I go into this random shop. Just, because you're on holiday, you go into a wee shop to get water for the room. Typical. They have some Monster. I buy a couple of Monsters. Jade from the Gamers there. She buys a couple of bits. And I'm like, I'll just put it all on my card so it doesn't have to get split. 2 Monsters, 1 water, packet of sweets. She got a drink and a packet of sweets.
This is going to be either
£30.
I was going to say it's going to be
30.
massively expensive.
£30, 900 Czech bucks, £30. And then when I tapped my phone on the thing, the guy went, "Oh," and then he just went, "Oh no, that's fine," which makes me think he massively overcharged me, and then just realised I'm some gringo that he can get away with overcharging
So
me. And I wasn't going to
it
argue.
was actually supposed to be £3. It's actually
Yeah.
it's actually a really cheap country, and you've yeah. Oh well.
Also, mainland Europe, start refrigerating your drinks because everything's just lukewarm. Lukewarm, the mayor of mainland Europe. It's just lukewarm water.
Lukewarm
Don't
and his
like
sister Leia warm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. The W.H. Smiths and airports do that as well, and train stations don't refrigerate their
sickening.
drinks. Scum. Anyway,
Very, very finally. I had, this is Pete Donaldson's fault. C4 Energy, we're familiar with it. They have 2 flavours now that are based on strawberry and bubblegum millions, the sweets. Absolutely repugnant. I opened that bubblegum millions C4 on a plane next to a guy when the pilot had just said, folks, we're going to be on the tarmac for about 30 minutes while we wait for our departure slot. I crack this open, the smell floods the place. It was like a bomb went off at C4 appropriately. And I could almost feel the guys just be like, why am I sat next to this bubblegum bastard? So yeah, C4 gets a 0 out of 10. Andy, apart from drinking, eating, being merry, I think you should play some video games this weekend. That's my recommendation for you. There's so many good ones at the moment.
I'm playing a secret video game I can't talk about.
Secret video game.
Secret-
I'm playing
We
those
should
Secret
games.
Monkey
actually
Island.
get a jingle for that.
Yeah, we should. Pete used to be in a band. We'll get him to do some jingles for us. I'm playing no secret video games at the minute. My video games are all public. I'm playing. I was going to say something there, but people would take it seriously. I'm playing EA FC all weekend. Thank you very much, Chris. You're away. We're doing our little jaunt tomorrow, and then you're pissing off to Le Paris.
Yeah, so
you taking any game shit with you? You taking a?
Yeah, I'll take my Switch and my Steam Deck, like, because just in case. It's nice to have options.
You take a Switch, your Steam Deck, your analog pocket, your PS4.
For 30 seconds, I considered bringing I've got like a Series S with that wee screen that you can take. For 30 seconds, I considered it, and then thought, what am I doing? Like, especially on EasyJet, where like luggage is at a premium anyway. I was like, no, that's just mental. I'll just stick with my Steam Deck and my Switch. That's all for 1 week. So it's all right. We've got Disney Pixel RPG was just released on mobile, and that's
is that as like spend money and go mental as it seems?
It is, but it's also there's nothing to it. Like there's like it's really basic RPG stuff. The story's awful. I'm probably not going to commit to it for too long, but
come on and spend money.
Yeah. When in Rome.
When in Rome.
When in Rome, play Disney mobile games.
Do as the Swiss mice do. All of you should do as the Swiss mice do and go to patreon.com/videogameschronicle. Thank you for listening and watching, and thanks to Grant Kirkhope for the VGC podcast theme song. Follow us on Twitter if you can be bothered, at Jordan Riddler, at Scully1888, at Andy_VGC, and we'll see you next week. Chris, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Chris.
Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Apologies to every nationality we offended on this podcast, apart from Americans, and we'll see you next time.